me see. Okay, okay. Colleagues, good morning, members of the media. Thank you for joining us in this media briefing. My name is Katshero Mrauzi. I'm the acting spokesperson for the executive mayor. The mayor is not alone this morning. He's with the MMC for Economic Development, Cllr Nomoya Mnisi, alongside the MMC for Group Shared and Corporate Services, Cllr Zungu, and the councillors of the city. So we're here to give an update on the verification process of the informal traders. Court gave us until this date to make sure that we verify all those people who were on the list of Cllr. So without wasting any further time, Executive Mayor will come and give an update with regards to that. Thank you. Executive Mayor.
Good morning, colleagues, members of the media and residents of Johannesburg. You are all welcomed to this media briefing this morning. That's better. And thanks for coming, members of the media. Today, we are addressing three critical matters affecting the city. One issue that we're dealing with is the political facilitated agreement, which refers to a long-standing salary dispute or disparities in the city. We're also dealing with the compliance with the High Court order on informal trading, verification and stall allocation. And lastly, we are also dealing with the false and misleading claims published by the Sunday Times regarding the city's finances. First, I confirm that the city has concluded the most important critical agreement with SAMU, the South African Municipal Workers Union, which is the implementation of the politically facilitated agreement, which was initially signed in 2016. And therefore, the Mayoral Committee has officially authorized the accounting officer to sign the settlement agreement, which will be signed today, which then gives effect to the implementation of the PFA. And for us to ensure that we finally conclude the labor dispute that has burdened the city for almost a decade. Oh, Alpha is here. Let's see. The salary disparities we are correcting today, of course, has been part of the freezing of the salary progression in 1995 as a result of the financial constraints that the city was faced with at that time. And whilst necessary at that time, that intervention halted career advancement, undermined competitiveness, and resulted in widening gaps between city employees. We are therefore resolving this matter, and our employees are now at the grade 10 salary scale moving forward as of today. The PFA establishes a single, fair and sustainable remuneration system across the city and its entities. It is based on the task grading methodology and rigorous internal and external benchmarking. After extensive negotiations since June this year, the city and SAMU agreed on a phased implementation plan, and the city will make payments over 3 financial years, beginning with a minimum of 1.2 billion set for March 2026, and with, of course, possibilities of stretching it to 2 billion, followed by 5 billion, which could be stretched to 6 billion by July 2026. In the financial year 2026-2027, while a final balancing payment will be done 2027-2028. It is important to complete this process so that the workforce of the city could finally have closure on their salary disparities. Secondly, I would like to update residents and the media on the progress in complying with the High Court order, especially in relation to informal trading in the inner city. Since the verification process began, we began on the 4th of November. Our multidisciplinary team has been working every day, including weekends, to ensure full legal compliance. We have onboarded many traders from the AK1 and AK2 court lists, verified their documentation, and issued the first group with permits. Stall allocation has also now commenced in markets where space is immediately available. That is important to therefore deal with the numbers that we have dealt with. You to know when we went to court, Cllr presented a list of just around 720, though that list had a number of duplications. Having cleared it, it came to about 500 and odd. And where we are now, we've verified and cleared at least a list of 154, 161, not 54. 161 have now been verified, cleared, and we are now issuing smart cards today of 44 of the 161. The rest of the balance will be issued with their smart card by Friday, and they will be allocated to their stalls. So the allocation starting immediately as of today, so that they can start trading and target the month end of November so that they can begin to make reasonable profits. We have also noted that of the 161, 13 of those are called suspense permits, in the sense that the stall might have been owned by somebody who have long passed on. A family member or a child wants to then continue with the stand. We are verifying the 13 with the necessary documentation that they must provide, and they will then be allocated with the stands. 9 of the total number received don't qualify. They are here in South Africa with passports. Remember, when you visit the country, you are given a visa permit or visa which expires in 90 days. So basically, they do not qualify to be allocated or a stand or to trade. Basically, bavakashile. So once they've vakashat, then they must go back home. So those will not qualify at all from the list as supplied by Cllr. Let me also deal with a number of what is called naturalized, which accounts for about 67 of the 161 are naturalized. People who are now, as a result of the process they've went, Home Affairs finally naturalized them. Therefore, they are naturalized South African citizens. And of course, the balance, therefore, is South African citizens who are fully fledged, born and bred in South Africa, who have now been allocated to the stalls, which is around, you will deal with the numbers accurately. I think it's 72 naturalized. And the balance is of South Africans. 67 is South African citizens. So those are your numbers, the media. We are also looking at other areas within the city where we've got other markets, because we have now received a total number of 2,819 of completely new applicants who wants to start their businesses and trade in the city. We are looking at other markets where there could be allocated space for them to trade. So this covers the issue as it relates to trading. The last part I'd like to deal with is in relation to, which I felt necessary to address, is the Sunday Times article alleging that the city has diverted 4 billion to somewhere else. This claim is false, misleading, and reckless. No such diversion has occurred. The article demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of both the city's budgeting processes and the structure of the politically facilitated agreement. Payments made under the PFA are lawful, negotiated, and face labor-related obligations. They do not constitute financial irregularity and did not reflect any misuse of public funds. The Sunday Times had claimed that the city has diverted money for water infrastructure into payment of the PFA. It is untrue and it's misleading. We have, through city's processes, continued to budget for labor or employee costs in a particular manner as the city of Johannesburg. The city's finances remain subject to strict legislative controls, external auditing, and transparent oversight. Irresponsible journalism of this nature misleads the residents unnecessarily and it creates public sentiment that undermines the confidence of the city. In closing, the city of Johannesburg remains fully committed to lawful governance, financial discipline, and transparent communication. We will continue to implement the PFA responsibly, ensure full compliance with court order on informal trading, and protect the integrity of the city against misinformation. Our focus remains on stabilizing the workforce, strengthening service delivery, and restoring order and fairness in the inner city. Thank you, Katu, and we can take questions.
Colleagues from the media, I'm going to open the floor for questions. The MMC for Economic Development is also here to take some of your questions with regards to the verification process. So you can just raise your hand, your name and the media house that you come from. And yeah.
Good morning. Alpha here from Eyewitness News. Mr. Mayor, I just want to understand how many trading stalls you have. I understand that there's so many people who have applied, but you don't have enough stalls. Are you going to be establishing some of the stalls? I remember last week you also mentioned that there were about 1,500 new people who now want to serve as informal traders in the CBD. Do you have capacity to accommodate those ones as well? Thank you.
Good morning, Yamgelega Manjaya from City Press. Mayor, I just wanted to ask if it's not concerning that of the over 500 people, only less than 200 people in the list showed up, and what does that mean specifically for the illegal immigrant status within those people that are trading in the city? Thank you.
Executive Mayor? Oh, third question.
Hi everyone, Clemens Banda from Joburg News. I want to ask, what has been the response of the organizations that took the city to court in terms of how you have handled the situation? Are they happy with it? And are they responsible for the 400 plus of people that are either illegal immigrants or who couldn't meet the requirements for the registration?
Executive Mayor?
Let me start with the last question. The proposals that we're implementing, as the judge might have resolved, were proposals that were discussed between ourselves and Siri, and we all went to then together in court, and the court said this is what should happen. So at this stage we are implementing as per the joint proposal, and the judge then ruled on the basis of our proposals, both Siri and the City of Johannesburg. So where we are, we believe that once we have done the process, the department will have a final discussion through our lawyers with the Siri lawyers to say this is what the court said and this is what has happened. Those that did not show up, it means the following: they're illegal and undocumented. And we did say to Siri and at the court that once you provide us with a list, provide ID numbers and passport numbers of those individuals. So the list of over 500, bulk of it did not have ID numbers and passports, which then confirms that the reason they did not come through is because they are illegal and undocumented. So as we're doing verification, Home Affairs Department was also here. So it's unlikely that when I know I'm undocumented to hand myself over. So they've disappeared somewhere into thin air. The last part is Alpha. At current Alpha, we're sitting at about 208 stalls, which in essence means we do not have sufficient space. We are still looking at other areas if we can still continue to allocate. But it is also important to note that we may not have the capacity to allocate throughout the City of Johannesburg, which then says the department together with the traders will have to look at some innovation on what else can we do to ensure that we support small business in the inner city. So it's something that we'll have to look at between ourselves as a department of the City of Johannesburg. But currently it's 208, means that there's a shortfall. And what also compounds the issue is the ones who are cooking and selling food. EMS standard says because they are it means they must be 6 meters apart. It's the requirement, it's the fire regulation which you must comply to, which you'll see that those we still trying to find others proper space, because our stalls are not 6 meters apart, so we need to go and respond to those. Otherwise we'll be in violation of the fire regulations in the city, which then answers the questions that were here. But we are excited that finally we have regulated this area, we have reorganized it properly. It is important that you must know that the program to rejuvenate, reclaim, and ensure that there's order in the city continues. So this was our first project, which has been successful. We'll be moving in other areas that are not designated for trading, but there's illegal trading, so we'll be dealing with those. So this was our first precinct. We're going to the next precinct until we have cleared the city properly and there's proper order. And this will allow us, Alpha, to really be able to support these SMMEs. You know that on an annual basis we set a budget in the city, and part of the budget is about SMME support, whether in the form of training, whether in the form of creating markets and stalls, or any other support that is required for SMMEs. On an annual basis we do budget. We set aside the budget for SMMEs, which confirms our commitment in supporting small business, confirms our constitutional responsibility to support local economic development. So there's work that we're doing in that regard. Thank you.
Before I go to the last round of questions, I'd ask MMC for Economic Development, Councillor Nomoya Mnisi, to add on what the mayor was saying.
Thank you, Patu. Just to augment on what the executive mayor has said on how has the city... Oh, the first one, which is from the City Press, on are we not concerned about the turnaround or the numbers that have come through for verification process. In fact, it then confirms our stance as the city that we were correct, that people who are trading in our streets, in our markets are illegal people. It's people who were never allocated by us, but also it's a confirmation that some of these traders might have passed away. Others might have even gone back home because the list that was provided to us by Siri does not have ID numbers, does not even have passport numbers. So we were unable to confirm if these people were South Africans or non-South Africans until they came through for verification process. The third question was how has the response been, or what is the expression from association and Siri, which took us to court as the city. They have been coming in. Siri has came here ushering its members and other associations as well. They have not been acting outside of any court ruling here on site. However, we do have allegations from community members. We have allegations from leaders of buildings in the inner city who confirmed with us that they were convened by Siri to write petition and act against the court and say that they are not happy about the verdict from the court. So that's the only thing. Those are the allegations which we have not confirmed. However, through our legal team, we requested them to write to Siri to inquire about these allegations. The other issues, I think the executive mayor have covered. Thank you so much.
Okay, last round of questions, if there are any. Okay. Alpha, the mayor is asking you if you're fine with the questions. You good? Lopang, SABC? Okay.
Okay, good morning, Mayor. It's Lebahang Dashe here from Y News. As you've mentioned that the city doesn't have adequate space to deal or accommodate all the traders and applicants that you guys have received, how will you then ensure that in the meantime, whilst you're looking for adequate spaces for those who don't qualify or who haven't received any trading spots, how will you make sure that they don't trade illegally? Because the likelihoods of them trading illegally is very high since they also haven't received any trading spots. And also, how will you ensure that those who've received the trading spots don't rent it out? Because as you've mentioned prior, that the city has had a problem or an alarming trend where those who've received permits and are accepted, they've rented their trading spaces to other people.
Okay, Executive Mayor. Lee happy members of the media? Aba happy EM, so.
Thanks. No, it's a very pertinent, good question that you have asked. So yes, it's true, there will be a shortfall. We do have a long-term strategy. There are already areas that are privately owned, which would want to acquire as the city, confirm and convert into trading markets. They are there, but there's a process that the department is involved in. Remember, the number is now about 2,800. But you must also be aware that of that number, there's also those that are going to take chances and try to trade illegally. So we'll continue to engage and show them what we are doing and work with them together, so that by the time we acquire, which is our long-term strategy, we want to have proper markets and buildings where people can have proper shops and that they can do their business and the city supports them. Yes, we're going to have a challenge because we don't have space everywhere, and we have to regulate this area, because it is also important for the businesses themselves. Otherwise, if the market becomes oversaturated, it also affects them in terms of growth and in terms of profits. Because if it's free for all, it means umuntu one uzogcina yenza 50 rand ngelanga, when in fact one person can make more if the numbers are controlled and regulated. So it's also an important business process that the city must undertake to ensure that this environment is properly regulated. I think I've responded quite adequately, and we are about to conclude.
I think SABC has one
Or SABC, Kema?
Lopang Alam.
Thank you. Hi, Mayor. Lopang here, SABC News. I've got a couple of questions. The first being, will there be an extension on these verification processes? The second, subletting. I think during the course of the court case, we heard quite a number of people claiming that there were some traders who were subletting. Please talk us through that, as well as to add on to that, allegations that there were people who roped in Cllr were basically collecting rent from illegal traders. Please talk us through that as well. Also, the punishment for subletting, basically. It's illegal. Is it not illegal? What happens then?
Okay. The court said 18 days. How many days? The court said 14 days. We have completed the 40 days. There's no indication from the court about any form of extension. Our responsibility is to ensure now we conclude allocation and issue smart cards. By Friday, everybody must be working. Those that we are giving today 44 must go and start working. There's no excuse anymore. Things are proper. Unless officials did not do their job, then we must retrieve the PFA. Subletting has been declared illegal. It's not allowed. If you sublet, you run a risk of your license or your permit being revoked. We are clear about it, because what then happens, a South African citizen gets a stall, gets a smart card, then decides to go and sublet to somebody else. Now, that defeats the purpose of empowering citizens of South Africa. It's the same environment we are beginning to clean in your spaza environment. So that's the same thing. So South Africans cannot continue and say, yeah. This is their stalls, do your job, let's give you the support. It's true there were allegations of syndicates that were collecting. So when we went through, you'd hear some of the traders saying, I'm paying 400, I'm paying 600, depending on the location and the size. And they've been paying this amount of money to South Africans. So I've asked our department called GIFIS to help us investigate certain individuals that were pointed out who were making money out of this process. So now with what has happened now, it means we've cut them off. Illegality has ended on their side. Now we're investigating them so that at least we can get to a point where they are arrested, they are charged, because they are the cause of what had happened in the inner city. So we must deal with illegality without any fear, favor. Thank you.
Before we close, the MMC for Economic Development want to add on with regards to the extension.
With regards to the extension, the two legal teams will be meeting. The date has not yet been confirmed, but the agreement was that after 14 days, the two legal teams are going to convene and then receive a progress report on the process, and they will then indicate, Siri will indicate if they are also pleased with how we have been implementing the agreements. Then if they are not, we will then be going for mediation. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the media. Thank you. Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you, MMCs.